My name is Arslan Hanif and I will be moderating the Zoom session. I have with me Mr. Atif Kaludi. He is the CFO. He will brief you about the Lucky's current financial performance and future outlook. Now, I would like to request Mr. Atif Kaludi to start.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you all and welcome to our analyst briefing for FY 2025. So this is the portfolio of our companies and segments that we are in, just for recollection of the businesses that our conglomerate has. So starting from the increase in volumetric dispatches, the overall increase in volumetric dispatches is 8%, which includes both local and export. We are going to drill down deep in the coming slides, so I will mention that later. So during the year, we announced a stock split of 5:1. We were one of the very first few companies to do that. And the key reason to do that was to make our share more accessible to the retail investors and increase the number of shareholders. So, mashallah, as of today, more than 60% or 60 to 65% of our shareholders are now holding less than or equal to 500 shares. So that's was the plan, and alhamdulillah, which has been achieved. And talking about energy initiatives, so we installed a renewable capacity in the last 2 to 3 years at both of our facilities. And once these installation was completed, then we went on to optimize the usage of this, the renewable energy capacity. And the way to optimize that was to install battery energy storage systems, because when there is a energy surge or energy shortage on the renewable side, then the battery sort of partially takes over. Plus also, you then reduce the redundancy of your conventional energy. So that also optimizes the energy mix. So the energy storage is not there to take over the entire renewable capacity if the renewable energy is present. It is only to optimize the mix of renewable and the conventional energy. So at our North plant, this capacity was completed. The NNBESS project was completed last year. And for this Karachi project, this has been completed post 30th June. Then talking about our foreign cement operations, mashallah, the foreign cement operations continue to give us very good results. We have 3 locations in our foreign cement operations, 2 in Iraq and 1 in Congo. So the ones in Iraq continue to operate at around 95% capacity, which is why we're expanding the cement capacity over there. That expansion would be coming online in the coming year. And apart from that, our Congo operations, which is mashallah also profitable, that continues to operate around 84 to 85%. Then during the year, we made a announcement of investment and some progress made in our mining venture, which is NRL, which is basically undertaking copper and gold exploration in the Chagi district of Balochistan. So the results of the scout drilling that have been conducted so far are very encouraging. And in mining terminology, when you say encouraging, it means that there's sufficient grounds to continue the exploration activity. It is not that you've actually discovered economically mineable copper and gold, but it means that there is evidence which justifies incurring further exploration in that area. So broadly speaking, there is a period of scout drilling, then you are into a phase of advanced drilling, and then you are able to make a mineral resource estimate, which is called the MRE. And once you're able to assess that, then you conduct feasibility studies, and then you go on to the financial close. So we're clearly, if everything goes as per plan, so we're clearly 2.5 to 3 years away from making that estimate right now. And once that financial close is made, then the mining construction activities start. So that's another 2.5 years of that. So it was just to give you the right context of this venture and initiative, and the timing around which we should expect to see some results from there. Next. Okay, so for the last, I think, 4 years continuously, or it was around the third year that we've seen a continuous decline in the domestic sales of cement. And this year also the domestic sales decreased, and as a result, the Lucky Cement's sale also decreased by 5.5%. So the industry sales decreased from 38.2 million tons to 37.1 million tons, and our sales came down to 5.9 million tons. But our market share was more or less intact at 16% versus 16.4% last time. So on the export front, I think the results were much more encouraging as compared to the domestic market, because not only the export volumes from Pakistan increased because of stoppage of supplies from some other export destinations globally. So we were able to capture the market share in those areas. But Lucky, I think, remained the largest exporter in the country. So our share was 3.4 million tons out of the total 9.2 million tons domestic exported from Pakistan. So clearly, as you can see, the result of the enhancement of volumes, what has happened is that the African regions, which includes mainly Ghana, Madagascar, and Cameroon, they became our high volume, I would say, destinations, which is why the share of Africa has increased. And in terms of absolute volumes, the other destinations have more or less remained the same. But because the African region took the larger share, so that's why that share of the pie has increased, whereas others seem to have reduced. So, mashallah, all these indicators, for the past, I think, post-COVID have been increasing year on year. Only I will talk about the gross profit. The primary reason for increase in our, gross profit from 38.8 billion to 42.7 billion is the stable coal prices, the installation of renewable energy was completed at our Karachi plant, which is basically a 28.8 megawatt wind project, which was completed in October 2024. So, so this year only saw 9 months of that additional renewable energy. So next year, the results should be even better as far as the contribution from this initiative is concerned. Then apart from that, the coal prices remained stable, the exchange rate remained stable, and all of that basically resulted in a jump in the gross profitability to above 42 billion rupees. Then talking about the other big increase in other income, the result is this is a result of surplus cash with Lucky Cement, which we have kept for future strategic investments, future expansions, and the fact that now, mashallah, we are such a large group. There is a certain level of contingency that needs to be kept as a cash reserve. So because of that cash pile, we're able to generate significant other income, which has resulted in this increase. So consolidated figures, paint a similar picture. So the profitability after tax is up by 17%. It stands at 84.5 billion rupees. The main red indicator is basically the decrease in gross profit by a marginal 1%. And that also the reason is academic, because the operations and financials of Lucky Electric are consolidated in these financials. So the way the IPP's tariff is structured is that as you keep on repaying the debt, the revenue component of the debt repayment and interest decreases, and so does the financial charges, but they appear below the gross profit line. So on a totality basis, this sort of neutralizes, but the way the accounting statements are prepared, it looks as if the gross profit has dropped, but on a totality basis, this does not have any impact. So which is why, the enhancement in profitability of cement operations, the other business, the contribution from foreign cement operations has resulted in an increase in consolidated profit to 84.5 billion rupees. So this is slightly the longer term trend, from the COVID period to, mashallah, this financial year of 2025, we are now at a net revenue of 450 billion, total assets of 730 billion, and an EPS of 52.5. And this EPS is based on the post-split number of shares, because the pre-split, our EPS used to be above 200 rupees. So I think outlook portion is relatively, we will take that into the Q&A discussion.
Shankar, please unmute yourself.
Alaikum Atif Aslam. Thank you so much for giving me this option. And once again, congratulations to the management of Lucky as well on achieving 700 billion rupees market cap mark on the stock exchange.
Thank you. Thank you.
So my question is with regards to your capital allocation plan for both local operations and for the international operations. So I believe around more than 60 to 70 billion rupees of cash is on the Lucky's balance sheet, and some of it will go towards the PIA investment, most likely, if the consortium is shortlisted. Then what about the remaining amount? If you can share some light on the priority areas where the management is focusing on the local side. And also, if you can guide on the capital allocation plan for the amount parked in the LCL IHL. I think that amount is also significantly higher.
Sure. So Shankar, given our group's historic performance in diversification and expansion, we've seen the group go into new territories every 3 to 4 years, with starting from Lucky Electric to autos to mobile, then to mining. So, I expect that inshallah you should continue to see that trend. Now, PIA is one, I would say, opportunity that is in your knowledge and in public's knowledge, because that requires us to make certain disclosures which were made to the PSX. But, at any given point in time, there are multiple opportunities that are being looked at by the Lucky Cements management. So, NRL has already been announced. So while the capital spend on NRL would not be so significant for the next 3 to 4 years, but obviously that if the things move into the right direction, this is a huge investment that would require a lot of cash. So the cash accumulation that you are seeing is to take care of the projects that are already announced. For example, one is NRL. The second is the PIA, which really depends on how the transaction goes through. We are in the due diligence phase right now. And last time we also carried out, the group carried out the due diligence, but several asks of the, I would say, the bidders were not met, which is why the investment was not considered to be feasible. So we hope that the government is going to improve the transaction structure this time in such a manner that it becomes more palatable for the new investors. And if this happens, so obviously this will also result in some cash deployment on that side. But I think overall, what we need to understand is that because of the size of the group's operations and our plans, this is the amount of cash, that I think which we need to have to maintain healthy current ratios, healthy gearing ratios. I'm not saying this is the amount of cash that would always be there, but significant amount of cash would be on the balance sheet to account for these expansion, and then above all, some contingencies also.
And any guidance on the international businesses where LCL, IHL is holding huge amount of cash? Can that be remitted back to the Pakistan, or that will be deployed in further investments? Any guidance on that?
So my answer is same for both. When I answered this question, that applies to both the locations.
Okay, one last question from my side. I know the Kia numbers were not disclosed earlier because of many reasons, but I think it's now 6 to 7 years that company is operating now. And you have mentioned in the annual report that company achieved around 40% volumetric growth in fiscal year 25. So this is just a suggestion. If now onwards, if you guys can share the actual number of Kia product wise, and if you can also provide some guidance on the future sales for the Kia Lucky Motors and the overall Lucky Motors
So
operations.
once a year, Shankar, we disclose this in our annual report, and the number of models that Kia has and Kia and Peugeot have. I mean, it's not very difficult to make that out. But I think whatever we are doing is a part of our overall strategy, considering the competitive dynamics in the industry, and our what values our group believes in. So that's the reason for disclosing the numbers once a year in the annual report. And apart from that, I think because of the decrease in inflation, which is now partially, it is going to see some impact because of floods. But apart from that, the overall decrease in interest rates, the political stability, we are already seeing signs of consumer spending in terms of autos. Cement has yet to see that. I think the cement demand has not yet been impacted by that factor. But auto, I mean, even for the July and August, the numbers that you're seeing, I don't see any reason why Kia and Peugeot and all the mobile brands that we have, they don't continue to enjoy from the higher consumer spending.
Thank you.
I have received a few questions via chat. So let me first read it out loudly for you. What is the retention price in North and South?
So for the outgoing year, the average retention for the company was 15,500 rupees. North was slightly higher because of the different dynamics in North, where some of the players, were facing higher royalties, because of which the prices were increased. So North remained an average around 16,000 rupees, and South was at around 15,000 rupees.
What is the price per ton currently in North and South?
So the price per ton currently in North and South, I would say it is more or less at the similar levels that was averaging in 2025, but that has already been distorted because of the, I think the recent events arising out of floods and the rains.
Flood, what percentage is Lucky Cement expecting sales to increase?
Sorry, Arsalan, you're asking about the sales growth, right?
Sales growth, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so if you see the trajectory of the last 4 years, the cement demand is standing in FY25. The total was what, 37 million tons. So the cement demand has been hovering around the same number for last 6 or 7 years. So if you compare it with like 6 years ago, there's been zero growth in this period. So, considering that there has been such a long period of stagnation, at the start of the year, we had, forecasted a growth of both combined growth in North and South of 5%. It is very early in the year to say, because the growth number of 14% of year on year, which you are seeing in FY 2026, July, August 2026 versus 25, that is slightly misleading, because the 2025 numbers were depressed, and that was because of the higher FD in June 2025. In July 2025, which is why the higher sale was made towards the end of the year. So actually, if you compare it with the number of FY 2024, these 2 months, we're actually selling lower than what was being sold in 2024. So that explained that, this 14% growth that you're seeing this year is, is not a correct depiction of the actual situation. Now, our forecast of 5%, I think that remains intact, because if there is any upside that was expected because of the political stability and the drop in inflation and interest rates, I think, the current floods will eat up that growth. And I don't agree with the general view that the floods will result in any significant demand coming from housing and construction of dams, because the dams construction is not going to start anytime soon, even if it were decided today. And plus, we've seen patterns in the previous years, what has happened in the previous floods. So if you analyze that data, what happens is, for the 2-3 months of the rains and floods period, the demand goes down, and then it gradually comes back to normal. But had the floods been a cause of major cement consumption, we've had 2 to 3 floods in the last years, and that has not resulted in any increase in cement demand or in these last 5 to 6 years. So my forecast number at the moment is 5%. Now, as the year progresses, we will be able to make more accurate forecasts. Ji Salam.
Nasheed, then mute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for such a detailed explanation of everything. My question is particularly regarding the Karachi plant's power mix. So can you please shed some light if you guys are looking for maybe a grid connection in the Karachi plant? And secondly, what is the status of gas levy, especially when it comes to the Karachi plant? Are you provisioning the cost, the extra levy of 791 per MMBTU? Are you provisioning the cost or not?
So, Rashid, so
And
we've made
yes.
your life very easy by, having 55% renewable energy in our energy mix, right? So that energy, I mean, in terms of variable cost, the wind, the solar, and the waste heat recovery, in terms of variable cost, the cost is negligible. So that is very close to zero. There's obviously a fixed cost component in terms of depreciation. But the remaining 45%, now if you analyze the cost from different sources, whether it is furnace oil, I mean, furnace oil after that 80,000 levy is clearly out. We don't even use that in calculation. But what furnace oil was costing before this abnormal levy of 80,000 rupees, and the other thermal sources versus the grid, more or less, it is. I mean, yes, furnace oil today is probably the most cheapest if you exclude the levy, but that's not an option anymore. So the other grid and other thermal sources that are available, plus minus 100 rupees per ton is the delta between the cheapest source and the most expensive source, if you assume a renewable energy mix of 55%. So then it does not matter where, from what source of energy you're using. So that's one about levy. I mean, the matter is sub judice. It is in litigation right now. So I would not like to comment on that.
Parmat, please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible?
Yes.
Ji.
So a few questions from my side regarding the power mix. You mentioned that in case of a 55% renewable, 45% non-renewable case, your cost is pretty much similar for the grid and other sources.
Ji.
Regarding the fuel cost, your coal cost, could you please elaborate what they are for different plants?
So what we are doing is, because our south plant is I mean, it makes sense to use the imported coal, whether it's from South Africa, Tanzania, whatever is economically a good quality coal is available. So we're using that imported coal at our south plant, and our north plant uses 80% or 75% local coal and 25% Afghan coal, again depending on the pricing and the quality we are getting. So for the outgoing year, our south plant, it was using international coal, which was priced at $100 per ton, and you can put on 12% incidentals and apply exchange rate of 282. So that will give you a average of 33,000 rupees per ton for Karachi, whereas for the northern plant, because you have to incur transportation when you transport the coal, so that cost was around 38,000 rupees for the outgoing year for the north plant.
Okay. And currently, where does it stand?
It is more or less close to the same number.
Okay. So regarding the growth that you mentioned, you don't seem to be very optimistic compared to the views we found in the industry, at least in the first 2 months. It was around 8 to 10%. So is it because of the floods? And don't you see the fiscal space improving, the government putting more money towards development projects post floods?
I think, Sarmad, I think the ethos of our group, I mean, in terms of forecasting growth, because you see, what difference does it make? Somebody who's forecasting 10% and somebody who's forecasting 5%, right? Had this forecast made any difference on our preparedness for the future, I would have forecasted a much more aggressive number. But because our surplus capacity is there, we can produce double the amount that we are producing today if there is demand, right? So I think the mindset that we have is we'd rather be conservative in sharing forecasts with you rather than sharing aggressive. But even what I'm saying 5% versus the reasonable forecast I've heard from others is a max of 8%, right? So it's really not very different.
So one last question, and I will be going back towards the power discussion that we had, and which was of course very prominent since Financial Times also highlighted your progress towards the BES project. What will be the percentage of renewable, non-renewable post implementation of that and the wind power plant that ran for 9 months in the previous year?
Yeah. So the 55%, Sarmat, that I'm mentioning is the mix of renewables after including the latest wind power project of 28.8 megawatts that came online in Karachi in October 2024. As far as the battery storage systems are concerned, as I mentioned, you cannot say that it adds additional capacity to the power mix. It basically optimizes the use of from different sources. Because I'll give you a very simple example. So let's say if you have to keep a small generator of 5 megawatt operational 24 hours a day just to account for the droppage in renewable energy at any point in time, right? So that generator would be using energy 24/7, right? But if you now have this battery, which is which has taken its charge from the renewable energy, and even if you don't have to run that redundant generator, so you keep this battery, and that battery picks up that surge or the reduction in renewable energy mix. So the renewable energy mix even post this battery remains the same. It is just that operationally it becomes more efficient, economic, and it eliminates that redundant use of thermal fuel generators.
Thank you.
Mukeet, please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.
Sir, just wanted to know your outlook on exports front. Recently हमने देखा कुछ डेवलपमेंट हुई हैं, जैसे कि इजिप्ट जो है एक्सपोर्ट मार्केट से पार्शियली एग्जिट हुआ, यूएई और सऊदी की कंजम्पशन इतनी है कि वो एक्सपोर्ट्स पे इतना फोकस नहीं कर सके, और ऑन द अदर हैंड पाकिस्तान की एक्सपोर्ट्स भी बढ़ी हैं, लकी सीमेंट की भी। तो गोइंग फॉरवर्ड एक तो एक्सपोर्ट्स के वॉल्यूम्स पे क्या आउटलुक है, एक्सपोर्ट्स की प्राइसेस खासकर क्लिंकर प्राइसेस पे क्या आउटलुक है आपका, और आजकल आपके एक्सपोर्ट बिजनेस में मार्जिन्स कैसे चल रहे हैं क्लिंकर एंड सीमेंट्स में, उस पे एक अगर आप कमेंट देते हैं। थैंक यू।
So you're right. This is what happened where Egypt was unable to export cement and clinker from its own country because there were certain subsidies, and just like our country, they went into an IMF program, and IMF discontinued those subsidies. So the market share that was left, Pakistan became one of the beneficiary. But please keep in mind that whenever such a situation arises, it always leads to some surplus or available capacity becoming more economical than it was previously. So I mean, while this situation is very good, and we are optimistic that this surge in prices and this surge in volumes will continue for the foreseeable future. But we would again like to remain grounded and competitive in terms of our costing, so that the margins are maintained. So as far as the outgoing year is concerned, there was hardly a gain in the last, I would say, 2 to 3 months in terms of export pricing. So I would not like to quote any specific price because again, it's a very competitive landscape in clinker and cement exports. But our average cement exports for the outgoing year were priced at $41, and clinker was at 31 power.
Right, sir. Right. Just one more thing on the power front. I understand काफी सवाल हो गए इस पे, but the thing you mentioned कि 55% is renewable and remaining 45% is thermal. तो in thermal FO is out of the calculation. तो grid and gas रह जाते हैं. तो gas आप लोग इस रेट पे यूज कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं? बस इस पे अगर आप एक कमेंट कर दें.
मैं वही कह रहा हूँ ना, हमने आप लोगों की जिंदगी आसान कर दी है, by bringing in 55% renewable. अब now wherever it comes from, it's such a small number कि आप उसमें ignore भी कर सकते हैं, because if you see our total cost of cement, right? The cost of production of cement, 55% is coal, right? Then another 15% is power, and then 10% is packaging. So 15% के अंदर 2-3% here and there, उससे कोई बहुत ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
राइट सर, राइट. सर वन लास्ट थिंग, अगर आप अपने फॉरेन ऑपरेशंस का आउटलुक शेयर कर दें कि जैसे आपने मेंशन किया था कॉन्गो में 85 to 90% यूटिलाइजेशन है, तो गोइंग फॉरवर्ड आप लोग क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि नेक्स्ट ईयर में किस तरह का यूटिलाइजेशन लेवल होगा? और इराक का एक प्लांट का आपने मेंशन किया कि 95% है जिसपे आप लोग एक्सपेंशन कर रहे हैं. तो इराक की एक साइड पे आपने कमेंट किया, अगर दूसरी साइड पे भी कमेंट कर दें कि क्या सिचुएशन है.
So my comment of 95% on Iraq was for both sides combined, because one side is जिसपे क्लिंकर ज्यादा बनता है, दूसरी साइड है उसपे ओनली ग्राइंडिंग कैपेसिटी है, तो वो बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल हो जाएगा. सो ऑन अ टोटल कंबाइंड बेसिस अगर आप देखें तो हम सीमेंट कैपेसिटी का जो है ना 95% यूज कर रहे हैं इन इराक, एंड कॉन्गो इज ऑल्सो 85%. And the outlook is more or less the same as last year. उसमें कोई improvement ही होगी इसमें, इंशाल्लाह बुरा नहीं होगा उससे.
इंशाल्लाह सर. गुड लक फॉर द फ्यूचर. थैंक यू.
Thank you.
और यूसुफ साहब, प्लीज अनम्यूट.
जी, बस मेरा एक क्वेश्चन ये है कि ये जो आपने 28.8 मेगावाट का विंड पावर लगाया, इसकी क्या कॉस्ट है, इसकी एफिशिएंसी क्या, और ये आपकी जो प्रोजेक्ट है इसके कितने परसेंटेज ऑफ डिमांड कवर कर रहा है?
जी, सर आप ये समझें कि इसकी कॉस्ट थी तकरीबन 9 बिलियन रुपीस, बिकॉज क्या कहते हैं, इसको कंप्लीट किए हुए भी अब तकरीबन 10 क्या कहते हैं महीने हो गए, और जिस वक्त हमने उसकी फीजिबिलिटी बनाई थी उस वक्त इसमें कोई तकरीबन 4 से 5 साल का पे बैक था, और उसके बाद बिकॉज एनर्जी प्राइसेस बढ़ गई हैं तो इसका पे बैक माशाल्लाह वो तो बहुत ज़्यादा इम्प्रूव कर गया है. और जो हमारा, आप ये समझे कि हमारी जो एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट है उसका जो है, सो कराची प्लांट का अगर मैं आपको बात करूं तो कराची प्लांट जो है हमारा, उसमें बिकॉज हमारा वहां पे सोलर भी है और रिन्यूएबल भी है, सो हमारे कराची प्लांट का जो है ना माशाल्लाह से 65% जो है वो एनर्जी मिक्स जो है वो रिन्यूएबल से आता है.
और ये जो विंड पावर है इसकी एफिशिएंसी क्या है 28.8 मेगावाट की एफिशिएंसी?
40%.
और यही नॉर्मल एफिशिएंसी होती है?
जी, यही टॉप ऑफ द लाइन है.
चलिए, थैंक यू वेरी मच.
थैंक यू.
Umair Hassan, please unmute yourself.
This is Umair from Alavi Asset. I just wanted to ask, what's the storage capacity of your battery system in your Karachi plant?
Arsalan, do you have those number? If you can just send that to me, I will brief it to them.
Okay,
Ji,
sir.
next.
My next question is, both of your cement plants, do you have a grid connection at your both sites or any of the sites?
Yes, देखिए आपके पास जो है ना एलोकेशंस और कनेक्शंस जो है ना रेगुलेटरी अप्रूवल्स होती हैं, बट बिकॉज आप ग्रिड को हर वक्त यूज नहीं करते तो उसकी जो यूसेज को जो है ना उसको रिलायबल बनाना पड़ता है. not only from the provider side but also from the हमारे जो अपने एंड की जो तैयारी होती है. So वो सारी complete है. हमने इसकी टेस्टिंग भी कर ली है. So if needed, we can switch on to the national grid, especially for the Karachi plant. तो वो हमारे पास available है और PIZU में भी बहुत जल्द available हो जाएगा.
So what's the timeline that you can start taking electricity from the grid?
So whenever we need it, वो हम उसको ले सकते हैं. उसमें इतना कोई बड़ा मसला नहीं.
Thank you.
Enter Nadeem.
When local coal from SCCMC would be available for Lekki Electric?
Sorry?
When local coal from SCCMC would be available for Lekki Electric?
Okay. Okay. So SCCMC, yes. So I mean that's very important. अच्छा हुआ आपने याद दिलाया. So because the Lucky Electric Power Plant, because it's currently temporarily, I would say, relying on imported coal. Therefore, in the merit order, it is it is high, but it is not as high where it should be if it gets local coal. So because the imported coal is expensive, once we get the locally mined coal from Thar Coal, which is basically the phase 3 of the SCCMC, where the mine will cross the capacity of around 10 million tons. So that coal, which would be much more cheaper and economical for Lucky Electric, and its number in merit order will enhance. So inshallah, we are expecting that this would start coming in within FY 2026. Arsalan, मेरी आवाज आ रही है ना?
Sir.
Okay.
Usama Naeem.
अस्सलाम, this is Usama Naeem from Equity Securities. अच्छा, मेरे दो
जी
सवाल
सर. जी.
आपने करंट एक्सपोर्ट प्राइसेस पे सीमेंट और क्लिंकर की तो कमेंट करके बता दिया क्या रही आउटगोइंग ईयर के लिए. अगर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड कि आप थोड़े से एक्सपेक्टेशंस बता दें कि क्या देखें. सेकेंडली, मुझे ये पूछना था कि नॉर्थ साइड की यूटिलाइजेशन साउथ साइड की यूटिलाइजेशन कंपैरेटिवली काफ़ी हायर है नॉर्थ से ड्यू टू एक्सपोर्ट्स. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड अगर डोमेस्टिक सेक्टर से डिमांड अच्छी बढ़ती है विद इन नेक्स्ट 2 or 3 years, तो आपके किस तरीके से इसको कैटर करेंगे, एक्सपोर्ट्स को और लोकल के उसको, या कंपनी एक्सपेंशन की तरफ देखेगी साउथ साइड पे?
Sorry, your name Usama, right?
या
हाँ. So Usama, एक्सपोर्ट की जो अभी मार्केट है एक्सट्रीमली कॉम्पिटिटिव हो रही है क्लिंकर और सीमेंट की. हर किस्म के लोग बहुत हाई प्राइसेस कोट कर रहे हैं. So I don't want to be another person mentioning prices and adding to that confusion. अच्छा, now जरा सा आप साउथ का अपना सवाल जरा इलेबोरेट करेंगे. मैं जो समझा हूँ. अरसलान, ये बैकग्राउंड में नॉइज आ रही है, जरा बंद करना. सो व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड इज कि आप ये पूछ रहे हैं कि देखिए अगर डिमांड पिक करेगी तो अभी तो साउथ के पास सरप्लस कैपेसिटी है टू मीट दैट डिमांड. बट ऑब्वियसली हमारा जो प्लांट है वो कोई 2005 में इंस्टॉल हुआ था. सो इट इज एफिशिएंट. वी कीप spending on the plant to maintain it. So I mean, अगर हमें, if we have to use this existing plant, we can use it. But अगर हमें उसकी expansion की तरफ अगर हम जाते हैं तो the additional capacity would be much more efficient, but that is going to be a huge investment. So उसकी अभी हमने कोई ऐसी working वगैरह नहीं की है.
Ahmed Ayub, please unmute yourself. Assalamu alaikum. This is Ahmed Ayub. Sir, I have to ask के आपका BESS का total capex कितना था और what is the payback period of that battery storage system?
So BESS, okay. So it's very interesting question. देखें, इसका payback period जो है ना उसको calculate करने के लिए आपको एक assumption लेनी पड़ती है. So the BESS becomes useful when there is a surge or reduction in renewable energy, right? So at that point in time, system जो है BESS पे जाके उसको pick करेगा. So now who can guess कि जी during a 12-hour period, although इसके अंदर historic data available होता है, बट कितनी दफा जो है एनर्जी सर्ज या एनर्जी की रिक्वायरमेंट जो है ना बेस के ऊपर जाती है. सो उसकी एक एवरेज अजम्पशन लेके इट शोज दैट यू नो बेस pays you back in a period of 4 to 5 years.
All right, thank you. I have another question, sir. What do you expect? I know it's a very long-term investment. What do you expect के mining business कब आपकी bottom line में addition आना शुरू होगी?
यार वो वही है ना जो आपके सवाल के अंदर भी है कि बॉटम लाइन तो काफी दूर की बात है, बिकॉज अभी तो देखें आई मीन जो माइनिंग के जो रिजल्ट्स हैं वो आपको ये नहीं शो करते कि जी इकोनॉमिकली वायबल कॉपर है. वो ये शो करते हैं कि जी जहां पे आप डिगिंग कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे ट्रेसेस अवेलेबल हैं और उसकी अपनी जो एक टर्मिनोलॉजी और फिलॉसफी है उसमें उसको ये कहा जाता है कि यू नो यू नीड टू कंटिन्यू ड्रिलिंग in this area. So for example, let's say if you've gone down, let's say a couple of 100 feet or meters in the ground, so then आप उसके अंदर जो है different direction से उसी होल के अंदर जाके दूसरी तरफ से डायगनली नीचे जाते हैं टू सी के यू नो कि अगर इसमें कॉपर अवेलेबल है तो कितनी डेप्थ तक कंटिन्यूसली कॉपर अवेलेबल है और कितना कॉपर अवेलेबल है. सो ये सारी चीजें असेस करने के अंदर अभी 3 साल लगेंगे. सो यू नो फॉर और लाइक आई सेड आई मीन इफ एवरीथिंग हैपेंस, अगर सब कुछ हमारे रिजल्ट सही आते रहे एंड वी कीप मूविंग इन द राइट डायरेक्शन, सो बॉटम लाइन पे इम्पैक्ट आने में कोई 6 से 7 साल लगेंगे इसके अंदर.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. Sheikh Abdul Rahman.
Assalamu alaikum. So my question is totally investor based. Lucky Cement has had a mixed history of a dividend payout. So could you please elaborate the company current dividend policy, especially should investor expect a regular payout going forward?
So I mean, I do understand that your perception is right that in terms of dividend payout compared to our earnings, the payout ratios have been, I would say, very conservative. And I think, but I would say that, you know, that as a result of that, Lucky has been able to add back those earnings to you know the capital gain that you're seeing in the stock price of Lucky. So while we do not, unlike some companies who can say that you know we would target to distribute 50% of our earnings, we don't have that policy. But I would say that you know there is no major shift in our policy in the previous years, and I don't expect that to change in the foreseeable future.
Amir Malik.
Assalamualaikum, sir. Thank you for
Well
the
done.
detailed corporate briefing. So I have 2 questions. One is short. Can you just tell me the cost of the grid at the moment? What is the per unit cost?
So the per unit cost is around 36 rupees right now, based on an average of peak, off-peak rates, and you know the fuel adjustment surcharges that are levied. But we expect that going forward, as the reliance on the national grid increases because of you know the discouraging of the thermal fuel, what will happen is that the user base of the national grid will increase, and which will result in a higher absorption of the capacity charges of the power producers. So we expect that should come down to around 33 rupees in the near future.
All right, that's very encouraging. Second question is, can you elaborate on the PI investment, considering it's a very competitive business if you look at it internationally, and you also have regional competitors as well. And of course, this is a new, different area where the company and the people that you're investing with, the consortium, doesn't have any experience in this area. So it's a bit, just wanted to get your thoughts on this investment, if you can
So
elaborate.
as far as Rehan, right? Shamir. Okay, so as far as
Yes,
experience is concerned, there are three major, I would say, conglomerates that are involved in this with us, at least. It is us, it is Hubco, and then there's Cohort Cement. All three have made announcement of the interest in this investment. And so I think, we've undertaken this conglomerate and, along with the consortium has undertaken, several businesses where, we did not have experience. So the formula is to, bring on board consultants, advisors, and professional management who have that requisite experience. So, I mean, that formula exactly applies to aviation also. But now, when you said that this business is highly competitive internationally, that's correct. And but PIA has a very big advantage of a diaspora in the north, for example, in UK, in Middle East, and somewhat in North America. So, their preference is to have flights without any connections because of lack of availability of, safe air travel. We have become used to Middle Eastern airlines, but, there's no reason why that cannot change. And, we've done our analysis and we feel confident that if there is safe and reliable and good quality aviation option available to the Pakistan's people, they will definitely opt for PIA in, going for the international side. And plus, once we engage with the government, this is what we are trying to advocate, that globally air travel is not a luxury anymore, it is a necessity. And in Pakistan, because of the heavy FED and taxes compared to the GDP per capita that we have, Pakistan has one of the highest taxes on air travel. So, it is one of our proposals to the government to, bring these taxes down. So, once acquired, whether we acquire or, any other consortium acquires it, because there are so many areas that can be improved in PIA. So I feel very confident that whoever buys it, it would turn out to be a good investment, provided, the structure of the transaction, for which, we've given our feedback to the government is met.
Okay, so one last question. Rabia, please unmute yourself.
I just have a question that is the company planning to
We can't hear you, Rabia.
Hello, am I audible?
No.
Rabia, maybe you can WhatsApp or put your questions in chat to Arsalan. Arsalan, were you able to get the capital cost of BESS?
Sir, I have sent you the megawatt capacity of BESS. It's 20.7 in Karachi.
Okay. Okay. So whoever wanted to note it, it's 20.7 megawatts in Karachi.
Rehan.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a small question. One of your product, as per your annual accounts, is 32.5 cement. I just want to know what is the feedback of the market? Are you selling it domestically or you are exporting this product to foreign countries?
So 32.5 is our original, cement that is domestically sold, and it is doing very well in the domestic market.
And it is only for plastering purposes due to its lower strength, what I believe.
That Rehan have to check. I don't, recall
No issue,
usage by grade. Okay, thank
it was
you.
mentioned in the annual report in the product profile.
Okay,
Thank you, Atif.
thank you. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you found this, session informative, and look forward to our next engagement next quarter, inshallah. Thank you, Allah Hafiz.